His name was Geralt of Rivia. He was a witcher, a professional monster slayer. An unusual contract to lift the curse that held a monarch's daughter. It was enough to spend the night with the princess, dusk till dawn. If only she were not a deadly beast, a striga. The traitor responsible for the curse became the bait. Though gravely wounded, the Witcher lifted the curse and gained fame. The world changed with the coming of the Great War, the time of the sword and axe, the time of disdain. Geralt of Rivia disappeared, all but forgotten. But that's another story.
Welcome to Chaotic Reunion. I'm Javier, and I welcome you to The Witcher. I would say this is a new project, but it's a project I've started a few times now. This would probably be my fourth time trying to start this project realistically. Anytime before, I've had problems either with fake copyright claims or frame rate issues and dealing with all kinds of things that normally would impede a run or progress through something that I kind of want to look rather competent. However, this time through, my fingers are crossed, and I am ready to show you the glory that is the Witcher game. There's a third one coming soon, and I hope to cover the sequel in a reasonable amount of time, but we certainly won't have this or the second one completed by the third one's release, and I wouldn't expect to go through that blind anyway. Without further ado, first things first, whenever playing a PC game, is you always check the options menu. I pretty much have everything set to how I'd want it to show off here. Most things are set to medium, if only to deal with the fact that I am also recording this, and fraps can be rather intensive on my system, considering that I'm only a decently powerful PC. I certainly meet the requirements for this game, but sadly, it's not the most polished and optimized, especially since this was just at the time of Windows 7 release, so it was probably more catered towards Vista and below, as much as that makes people cringe a little bit. Alright, so let's go ahead and start this wonderful adventure. So, if we go to start our adventure, you'll see the three different difficulties. I would recommend medium for most people, hard if you've played the game through once, or if you really are expecting to go through a rather slow-paced game, as you'll be learning a lot more, and easy if you really just want the story. I wouldn't blame maybe if you just wanted to do the story. It's actually a rather compelling story, and sometimes the gameplay can get in the way for some people. It's not everyone's taste. I know it's not great for me to say that going into a game for the first time, but hey, what can you say? Anyway, the next option you're going to want is keyboard and mouse, or just mouse. I would prefer keyboard and mouse for most people, as it gives you more options. Mouse isn't terrible, but you have much more of a limited span when it comes to the mouse. We're going to be doing keyboard and mouse. Anyway, let's hop into the world of The Witcher. Who's excited? I know I am.
The northern kingdoms nursed their wounds for 5 years after the Great War. Plague and famine raged, the death toll unknown. A few surviving elven and dwarven units sought refuge amidst forests, where they prepared for a final, desperate fight. Abominable beasts ruled backwoods, highways, and former battlefields alike. In cities and villages, folk were left wondering what had happened to the Witchers. The Blue Mountains in the north of Kedwen. The year 1270, 5 years after the Great War.
Where am I?
Everything's all right. I've no idea where you've been. The important thing is you're alive and among friends. Though you look like you just left your grave.
I remember nothing.
We'll speak soon enough. We're nearing Kaer Morhen. We're home. Leo, get Triss.
Your time nears its end, witches. Enjoy things while you can.
Wrong! You missed the parry! I keep repeating this. Pirouette always followed by a back cross parry. Always!
Barely 2 days have passed since they found you.
I owe my recovery to you. Thank you, Triss.
Remember anything?
Not much. Look below. I know the moves. Pirouette, parry, cut. I can't explain it, but I feel a bond when we speak. I know you are important.
Geralt, we...
I need to think.
Time flows slowly at Kaer Morhen.
Ha! It worked! Not bad. Take a rest. What do you think, Geralt? Is he ready for the path?
Wait for the rest. He's alone. The Professor promised 50 orens for every freak we kill.
He's mine!
Vesemir, we got company.
I'm shutting the gate. Geralt, grab a sword off the training forms.
I hope you weren't expecting this game to start off slow, honestly. Alright, so we're being thrust in the middle of combat. You have to left-click enemies to attack, and you move with WASD, and it's fairly simple. Now, if you're wondering, one thing I gotta point out real quick, while this is happening and we have the basic combat going on here, what's up with these graphical glitches, sudden drops in frame rate? That is honestly something I get when playing the game even on the lowest settings. It's more so an outdated engine, I would feel, more than it's anything else. I wanted to get that out of the way and just try to enjoy it for what it is. I know it's not perfect, but it's certainly a game that I hold dear, and I hope you'll find some enjoyment in it as well, especially when it begins to pick up. That being said, we've defeated all the bandits.
How do you feel?
Fine.
Anyone know who the intruders are?
Ordinary bandits would never attack Kaer Morhen.
That we know, Marigold. You could try some of your famous magic.
In due time, Lambert.
Enough! We need to check the other possible passages to the upper courtyard.
You heard them. Let's head to the upper courtyard. So you'll notice that we have a journal entry up there. We can certainly check that out. I'm going to hold off on that for now. I have a special idea in mind for when it comes to these sort of things. But most quest objectives will pop up and we'll tell you immediately what the goal is. If you look up at our map up top, you'll see a red arrow on our mini-map that'll point to where the general direction of where we have to go, though it won't necessarily tell us the pathway we have to get there. So it's a lot more based on observation and movement rather than it is anything else. Let's hop up and talk to the rest of them again.
What's happening?
They're trying to break down the gate!
They won't get anywhere without a battering ram.
Shit! What is that?
A frightener. One mean beast.
Savola. I know him. A mage as ambitious as he is insane.
They're coming up here. Get ready!
There's more! They're entering the upper courtyard!
The one in glasses is the Professor. Murder for hire. I sense magic. There's a sorcerer among them.
Professor, you know the way. Get to it.
The Professor is wanted in Redania, Temeria, and Kedwen. A real maggot. I don't recognize the sorcerer.
Marigold, I'm interested in whether you can disarm Savola. The rest is witch's work.
I'll try.
They're coming.
The frightener is very dangerous, but it's vulnerable to loud noises.
The bell's in the upper courtyard.
Exactly. Eskel, Lambert, you'll help me stop the frightener and the bandits. Leo, stay behind us. Geralt, you open the gate to the upper courtyard. When we're there, Triss can stop Savola and his pet, while we prepare to deal with the Professor and the unknown mage.
I'll figure something out.
Let's do this. Bleed them a bit down here before withdrawing. Geralt, follow the wall and break through to the tower where there's a passage to the upper courtyard.
Alone?
They're just bandits, though one might be infamous. You must open the gate. We'll be waiting. Good luck, Wolf.
And so we've gotten our objective. Looks like we're assaulting these bandits on our own, huh? Alright. Oh, hey, hello, Skips. Alright, so we now have the ability to chain attacks. This is one thing I'm going to mention that is actually affected by your difficulty. In easy and normal, you'll see that my sword attack, while bleeding over him, is changing based on how I wait, and I'm doing faster and faster attacks as I go through. If you play on hard, you will have to look at Geralt's positioning and follow the trail on his weapon rather than relying on your mouse cursor. Something more for advanced players, and something I didn't know because I thought I was smart in playing on the harder difficulty from the get-go. Not something you want to do. Anyway, coup de grace. You've just stunned your opponent. Left click to finish him off in doing some kind of a flashy move. There you go. We spun around and killed him pretty instantly. This is actually pretty useful as we get along in the game. As you fight more hordes and hordes of enemies, you actually are invulnerable when doing a coup de grace. So it's something just to keep in mind. And I know it's spelled coup de grace, and I've said that before, but hey, it's a thing. What's up here? Oh, this is to the gateway. I actually never knew this was here. Is there any loot up here? No, there's bandits. Anyway, I should get into the base controls a bit more here. You do have multiple camera angles, by the way. If you press F1, you will get the ability to go back to this camera angle, which is where to use your mouse and such. I apologize for the cut there. Got interrupted for just a brief second. We're back on track here. Anyway, as I was saying, this camera angle is better for using your mouse controls. It gives you more of a tactical view on the battle and allows you to move the mouse. Your cursor is also slightly bigger, which is nice, and is helpful for when you have a lot of enemies. The over-the-shoulder camera is better for exploration, in my opinion. The best camera angle, in my opinion, is F2. Provides you a much more tactical view, allows you to control with the mouse and move side to side. This is probably the best camera angle when it comes to dealing with open area combat, as it can just gives you the most tactical range over anything around you, which is nice. We're going to be playing most of the game in this camera angle, however, as it's the most cinematic. Keeps us close to the action, and in many cases we don't have to worry about being too tactical on this difficulty, though we are going to want to keep track of the various things we learn, otherwise we're just sitting ducks in many of the encounters. I don't expect this to be a deathless run, and we'll work around that for sure. Anyway, now we're getting into the different combat styles. This is very important and crucial to playing this game properly. If you press their tab, you're able to... Nope, I'm sorry. If you press Q repeatedly, you'll be able to swap through the different styles and cycle through them. Right now we only have 2 styles, so we'll be able to swap through the heavy and the fast style. Or you can press Z, X, and eventually C to swap through the different styles instantly without having to cycle through them. It's pretty useful to be able to master swapping to them when you need them rather than cycling through them, though it's not too much of a detriment as long as you're quick in cycling through them. These are not what's the word? What is the word? Optional. That's right. You need to master what style is effective against what enemies. Otherwise, you are not going to be successful in combat. You can just keep shooting at them and hitting them, and they'll just keep dodging your attacks and parrying you. As you'll see here, he just keeps dodging me if I use my heavy attack, but if I go to speed, well, he dodged that anyway. Hang on a minute. He's not allowed to do that. What a jerk. Here I am explaining it, and he just dodges it like it's just the worst thing. So, not only are music cues going to tell you whether you're in combat, but did you just see how Geralt put his sword away quickly? That's another way to tell you that you're in combat based on how fast you can put your weapon away and take it out. Anyway, we're not going to be fighting all those guys. We're going to run for it.
No way through here. Follow me. Back to Savola.
Alright then, looks like we just saw a bunch of dudes fall to their death. That can't have been pleasant. Anyway, we got more combat going for us. Let's take these guys nice and quick. I do apologize if this section is going to be a little light on the commentary in terms of most of the actual actions that we're going to be doing aside from cutscenes and such. It's just RPGs. Okay, this is very crucial for me to say it's an RPG, and thus it will have moments that are going to be very slow gameplay-wise. But while we're doing this combat, I do want to take a mention to note as to why we're starting The Witcher. Well, I'm sure many people are aware of Nintendo's policies. Please, if you want to know more about those and how I feel about that, follow Twitter / Chaotic Reunion. It's down in the description below. Other thing that the channel has been rather barren lately is another reason we will cover. I recently covered, so if you want to check out the update video in case you missed it, go right ahead. I almost went into detail here, but I already covered it, so it's sometimes hard to keep that straight, and I also don't know why I rolled. That's one thing I'll get into a little later when it's more crucial in combat, but for now, let's just take these guys out nice and quick. Hey, wrong combat style, Geralt. So I hope you're catching on here that this combat's not necessarily action-based. One of the things that most people mention when talking about the original Witcher game is it's more of a rhythm game than it is an action game. And it is. It's about following the rhythm and making sure you don't overextend yourself or do anything that necessarily could get you killed by being too hasty with your button clicks. Anyway, if you press Alt, you'll see that there's a winch right here. Winch, not winch. Go ahead and click that.
Damn it, Geralt. It's a miracle you're alive.
You could have told me about the stairs.
Lambert and Eskel were supposed to fix them yesterday.
We're not masons.
No matter. The professor and the other mage must be hiding in the keep.
Face the truth, Witchers. They're here to rob you.
Triss, child, we have nothing of value. Some good steel snow fox pelts?
I mean the laboratory and you know it. Someone wants your famed mutagens.
You're jumping to conclusions.
Triss may be right. We need to find out what they want.
One thing at a time. We shouldn't turn our backs on a strong mage leading a frightener.
And you can't let the bandits in the lab.
Right as usual, Triss. Geralt, you've dealt with mages. Find out what this one wants. Leo will guide you.
Just reconnaissance, or?
No one will be sorry if some of them lose their heads. You'll manage, Wolf. Just remember Leo's with you.
I can handle this.
We'll see what's happening inside and be back.
Take these potions just in case. Drink the Thunderbolt now and keep Swallow for when you need healing. I'll be able to tell you how they work. We'll make sure no one else gets inside. Triss, stay with us in case Savola has any new ideas.
Alright, you heard the man. We need to enter the keep and go see what these bandits want with Kaer Morhen and the Witcher's secrets. But I think that's enough for the first episode of The Witcher. Let me know what you think of. If you're excited to see what goes on, I know it's a clunky beginning. Those cutscenes aren't exactly modern and they're very dated, but I guarantee you're in for a wild ride, and it's an adventure I'm excited to talk about and finally ready to reveal. I've been working very hard on getting this project ready to go, and I was very heartbroken when I couldn't get it to work on my actual recording setup. But now we can do it, and I'm very pleased with that. I've been Javier of Chaotic Reunion, and I'll see you all in the next one. Kaer Morhen is an inaccessible mountain stronghold which has been the headquarters of the Witchers Guild for centuries. The name comes from the language of the elves. The original Kaer Morhen translates into Old Sea Fortress. The castle's time of greatness is past. The battlements and moat have deteriorated, and a cold wind blows through the spacious halls. Currently, only a handful of Witchers live here, but once many young boys underwent gruesome training along the infamous Gauntlet near Kaer Morhen.